Hello everyone, this is Father Sanjay Kumar Benya. Welcome again to this video lecture series on Pastoral Epistles. In our previous lesson, we talked about the office of bishops, elders, and deacons in the Pastoral Epistles, as to how those words are used in these letters and what were some of their offices or what were some of their functions as far as the church government was concerned. Now, in this video, we are going to talk about the relationship between bishops and elders that we find in the pastoral epistles. Right? So, there is a disagreement among the scholars on the relationship between bishops and elders in the pastoral epistles. Okay, so there is a disagreement and a debate going on among the scholars. However, the modern scholars believe that in the early church, the presbyters and bishops, they were the same people, right? So the word presbyter and bishop, both these words were used to refer to or to point out the same person, the same office that was there in the church. There are a lot of reasons to make this argument. Okay, the reasons for that identification are as follows, as we are going to point out, underline here in this lesson. The first reason is elders were appointed everywhere during the time of Apostle Paul's ministry or at this time of writing. We read in book of Acts chapter 14 verse 23, Paul and Barnabas themselves appointed elders in all the churches after their first missionary journey. Okay, so after having planted churches, they appointed elders in all the churches. Then we read in Titus chapter 1 verse 5, Titus himself was instructed to appoint elders and ordain them in all the cities of Crete. Right, so there were elders who were appointed in almost every church during this time and during the time of Apostle Paul and Barnabas. All right, the second reason is that we find the qualifications of a presbyterus, that is elder, and an episcopus, that is bishop, are identical that we read in 1 Timothy chapter 3 verses 2 to 7 and Titus chapter 1 verses 6 to 9. Okay, so when you analyze the qualifications that are mentioned for the bishop and for the elder, these qualifications are almost identical. That means the qualifications are same for both the titles. So that also is another indication that most probably bishop and the elder, these two titles were used to refer to that same one individual or the same person. The third reason, in Philippians chapter 1 verse 1, we see Paul greets the bishops and deacons while writing to the church at Philippi. So in this verse, we see Apostle Paul is greeting only to the bishops and deacons. So now the question arises here is why he did not greet the elders who also were present in every church. Okay, so it is impossible that Paul would have sent no greetings to elders who were there in all the churches. So this also is another indication that since he has already greeted the bishops, it was not necessary to repeat the word elders because they were the same people. The bishops also were referred to as elders during this time. Then the fourth reason, on his journey to Jerusalem, while going to Jerusalem, Apostle Paul called the elders of Ephesus to come and meet him when he was at Miletus. We read in Acts chapter 20 verse 17. Now here again the question arises is why Apostle Paul did not call the bishops also to come and meet him. Now, scholars again would say that since already Apostle Paul used the word elders, so he did not have to use the word bishops again because they were the same people. Okay, so elders were the same people who also were called as bishops, and therefore he did not have to, use the word bishops to refer to them. And in fact, as he after the elders came and met him at Miletus, he addressed them, he talked to them a lot of things, and finally, in his later address in chapter 20 verse 28, okay, Acts chapter 20 verse 28, he refers to them as bishops. Okay, so he refers to them as bishops. So this again is another indication that the same elders were referred to as bishops by Apostle Paul in book of Acts chapter 20 verse 28. All right, then the fifth reason. In 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 1, when Apostle Peter addressed a group of elders, and then later he talks about them to refer to their functions, he addresses them or he mentions the word episcopos or overseer or bishops for the same group of elders. All right, so it is even in this passage, even in the writing of Apostle Peter, we find that to the same group of elders, he later on uses the word bishops or overseers to refer to them. Okay, so this is the fifth indication to say that both the words elders and bishops were used for the same individual by referring to them at different occasions by different people. All right, so all the evidence from the New Testament proves that the presbyters and the episcopos were one and the same person. Now there are some questions which genuine questions can be asked as far as the relationship between presbyters and episcopos is concerned. The first question again is asked or raised is, if they were the same, why are there two names used for them? If the elders and the bishops were same, then why are these two titles used for them? The answer is that presbyters or elder described their personality. It suggested that they were the eldermen or the older and the respected members of the community. Okay, so this title referred to their personality, it referred to their age, which indicated that they were older people and respected people in the church or in the community. Whereas the word episcopos or overseer, that title described their function or the task that they were assigned to do. Okay, the word elder described their personality or their age and their maturity, whereas the title episcopos or bishop or overseer described their function and their task that they were carrying out. All right, then the second question that arises or that is raised is, if the bishop and elder were same, how did the bishop become what he became? Okay, so how did the bishop become what he later became? In the course of the time, the body of the elders began to acquire a leader. Okay, so they always had a council. The elders always had a council which was called the Council of the Elders. In the course of the time, the body of the elders began to acquire a leader automatically. Okay, so someone naturally emerged to lead and preside over the council, over the meeting, or over the gatherings of the elders. Okay, so it was a spontaneous, growth of a leadership, and the elder who stood out as a leader came to be known as episcopos or bishop. Okay, the elder who naturally was able to lead, able to preside over the meeting, slowly in the course of the time, he came to be known as the bishop or overseer, and he was a leader amongst the equals. Okay, so though all of them were equal, but by way of his personality and his natural ability, somehow one of the elders who stood out, and he later started leading the council, and he was able to preside over the council, and also was referred to as the overseer or bishop or leader among the elders, and he was a leader amongst the equals. Okay, so this was the relationship between the bishops and elders that we find in the pastoral epistles. All right.